Well, thank you for checking out this video where I'm going to do a digital audit of a church. I asked this question to my email list and I got, a ton of requests of people to check out their digital experience. And the idea here is just something I wanted to try out. Over the years, I've done a lot of digital audits for churches and ministries for pay. And it's something I enjoy doing. Usually it's a whole report and it's a lot of work, but I wanted to do something just for YouTube to try it out. So the idea here is I'm going to review the website experience for your church, the stream, your social media, and then just general paradigm, like how you think about digital, at least how I can see it from afar, and then ultimately what they can actually try out. Digital experiences are really important for people to try out your church. And so this is going to be just me talking and me looking at things. It's going to be pretty raw. You might be able to hear my kids are actually in the front yard playing with their friends, so you might be able to pick that up. I got a cup of coffee, cold brew of my choice, a little Stumptown, and I'm just going to do it. So this is what, it's kind of the idea here is to get into the frame of mind of what I see typically when I'm doing one of these. And so I thought this would be fun for YouTube. So we'll see how you receive it. So first, let's go to the website. So I'm actually going to be doing Grace Community Church. One of the things that's always kind of interesting when you're doing one of these is finding out where a church is located. Sometimes it's really hard to know what state a church is located in. So Grace Community Church, for example, I'm just on the front page here. I'm scrolling around. Obviously, they got some nice colors. They got a good brand. And I can see they're in Virginia. And so this is good. So the footer is usually a place where people go to find this out. But like, for example, right here, join us this Sunday at 9:30 or 11 a.m. at Thomas Jefferson Middle School. Obviously, I do not know where Thomas Jefferson Middle School is as a new person. Now, maybe people in the Virginia area, in the Arlington area, like they would know, but it's something to think about as a new person. Like they just don't understand some of the language. And sometimes you're so entrenched in your own church culture, you're just like, oh yeah, we're at 9:30 and 11 a.m. at Jefferson. It's funny because I got Jefferson Middle Schools, I think, in my area somewhere. Generally, I like this footage. I love this. This is something I know North Point has done recently with some of their web design where they've done a bunch of different footage of people in the life of their church. I think this is cool. It actually gives me an experience of what it is to be part of your church. I think a lot of people forget about is sometimes when they think of your church, they just think of that building or that space, and they don't actually know what happens inside that building or inside your church. And so showing people, showing activity, showing what's going on is really cool. I love the variety of people and actions. I love this. I think this is really practical. At points, sometimes the white is hard to see on some of this footage. The one thing about video like this is, and you can see here, my wife and I are playing Wordle. You can see sometimes this can be a little funky on mobile with bandwidth. It can get it's the worst when you load one of these and it doesn't actually load. It's really infuriating because you spend a lot of time, but I generally like this. So definitely like this call to action here, a church for people who don't go to church, is a cool, I think, saying. This come and see is obviously verbiage that we're aware of as Christians. I wouldn't say a lot of people who don't know Jesus know what that means. So this is kind of insider language, I would think. I think plan a visit or, see us in person or something is way better. This is cool. I like this. What to expect. A video, I'm assuming from your senior pastor, which is cool. I like that. The screen grab is a little in between. You might make a thumbnail more. You can do that with Vimeo. How to get what you want. This is obviously the series that you're in. Obviously, I don't know what this means as a new person. I'm assuming it's the series, but again, that's a small thing. You might say this is a series we're going through. You can check it out. Attend in person, what to expect. It's always interesting too, these time zones I don't, this isn't something I think most churches need to be aware of. As somebody who has a community of people all around the world, you realize very quickly people automatically assume they're in your time zone. So, you know, if you're a church that's 95% reaching people in your community, you don't need to add Pacific or, you know, this is Eastern. But it's something to think about. How to watch online, your faith journey. There's quite a bit on this. I think this is probably a little too much. I always think this is interesting, promoting your app to new people. I don't think it's something new people really want to do because it's really just how to watch our stuff. It can communicate that you're into technology. I definitely see the value in here, but I would definitely reduce this page. I like this. I like this setup. This is pretty cool. How have you got this set up? So I definitely would change the main call to action. Actually, I was curious. This is something I do, and you might do this as well. There is a tool, websitegrader.com, and if you you can put this in here, and it will actually. This is something I use a lot just for my own stuff, and when I'm auditing something, this is powered by HubSpot, and it's a really cool tool, and it will give you some basic info about your website. So it says it's the page size is probably a little bit big, just a tiny bit, not bad. 3 megabytes is normal. It's just a little bit over. There's quite a bit of page requests. Usually page requests from changing a lot of websites and not deleting it. A lot of pages, and you're not really archiving stuff. Again, that's all, you know, think about your file as being hosted. Your website is just a folder that's sitting somewhere on the cloud, and you got to clean that folder up the same way as you would clean up your desktop, or at least I hope you do. Page speed is a little slow. I'm assuming the video file and some of the images hosted on your homepage are probably a little big. This is slow, especially having a church in the United States. You might get away with this in other places, but you definitely need a 5.3. This just looks like some basic technology. Image size. Oh, actually, it looks like some of your images are formatted correctly. Maybe it's the video file. JavaScript, minified CSS. Usually these are plugins and things on the back end. If you have like a Squarespace site or something like that, or a website, typically if you just go in there and update stuff, it usually should update it more regularly. But this is part of it. If you build something more custom on WordPress, there's just always something to update, unfortunately. A descriptive link. This is very common not to have this. Definitely you can fix that, but SEO looks generally good. You can see though in the load time, because it's not loading right away, you're getting this, you're getting that little wheel, which is not great. Tap targets is like that call to action, so that's not visible because it's not loading. Security, you have this, which is great. Some of your JavaScript files are not up to date. That just means something is not secure. Usually that just means you have a patch that you need to hit and update, just like you would update your phone. So generally, you know, it's just mainly I would figure out if this video needs to be you know, reformatted, or if you need to, and then also the speed of your site. Those are the main things. This is not amazing. I mean, if you had this is something you definitely can work on and fix pretty quick. Generally, in person, this is great. I mean, again, this is generic stuff. I like the colors and the design. I like the idea. Watch this. These are cool graphics. Obviously good at video.
Week 2 of how to get what you want, what God has impressed upon me.
Yeah, obviously this is very well captured. This is well done. Stories. I like this idea of like seeing real people. This is cool. So generally, this is all really well done. I just think that some of this is probably like this right here. Like new people generally don't, when they're coming to your website, this isn't something they're thinking about. And that's the question. Who are you targeting for this? You know, you probably are targeting new people who are landing on your homepage, finding you on Google or being sent something, and then you have your members. So you have kind of 2 targets generally. And so I would treat your homepage as like, what are the most important things? Try to keep it very simple, and then try to drive engagement for members, you know, with the menus or some other experience. Yeah, so I always like to check these. So on kind of diving into social, I like to open these up. And normally if you dig around into a website long enough, I'm assuming this is the app. Yeah. You will actually find out like stuff. Oh, there's a podcast. Interesting. Yeah, I might change that icon to more of a podcast icon. This I would assume this is an app, but that might be preference. But it appears all these work, which is great. Generally, yep. So it looks like you have, a pretty simple to use giving tool, which is great. And yeah, you have a lot to offer. I'm not going to go through all this, but obviously I do like your headings. I think these are pretty simple. About, stories, groups, messages, visit. I think those are pretty simplify. Generally, stories is really cool that you feature that. I'm curious how often people click on this. I definitely am in the camp of, making it simple, but looking at the data. Something that I've done in the past is whenever we've done website restructures, which can be really hard. It's just looking at what people are most clicking on and trying to figure out how you can make that easier. I always find it interesting, like these locations things like Church Online. I still think calling it Church Online is a really interesting tactic. We've definitely leaned towards just calling it like our church, and it's just like it's online, but not like Church Online, which is more of a brand. You know what I mean? Especially I think about the Church Online platform. We brand it that way. Obviously, Life Church has made that popular, but yeah. So I think generally it's a very clean website. I like the colors. I like the layout. The design is very clean. Oh, it's funny. It's a North Point partner, which is totally why that video and that template. The crew at Plain Joe designed it. That's why it's well done. So that's why it looks really clean. But I would just speed it up and maybe think about something on the homepage a little bit more. But generally, I think it's a good design. Okay, so let's look at your stream. So obviously, Church Online, here it is. We gather on Sundays to join, watch, prefer. Okay, so let's watch live. Where does this go? So obviously, you're using the Church Online platform. You have a teaser video, which is really cool. I've seen this done in a couple other places, and I really like it. I really like this feel of like getting ready for church. How it's not just put on your PJs and watch, it's all comfort. It's actually watching with other people. Look at that. Hey, I love it. Clean. This is a great teaser and an overview of everything. One of my qualms, if you could say so, with the Church Online platform is I think it's kind of interesting how it's really built to be something that's used 24/7, kind of like syndication of like a cable. It's kind of like a cable model, like TNT or TBS would buy rights to like, Seinfeld, Friends, or like Lord of the Rings, and you just play it a bunch of times. And I think I struggle with the Church Online platform because it's really compelling when it's live. And obviously Life Church has leveraged it that way, who primarily built it to schedule a bunch of stuff. But I just don't love, I like this teaser video, but I would much rather just people to be able to watch the service. People are clicking on Church Online to watch your service. So now they click on this and they're told to come back at a later time. I would either think about embedding the playback of like from YouTube into the offline view of this so that they could just watch it right afterwards. Or even consider, and you don't need to do this, but consider moving to switching completely to like a YouTube live and creating an experience on your website. I think this only works if you're really scheduling it out like a true TV broadcast channel. And I think Life Church does that well. I think Elevation. There's some other churches that do this very well. But like I would much rather, I just want to watch your service. Like I'm looking for your service. And so now I have to find it somewhere else. So I went from your page to here and now I can't watch your service. So I would either embed it here or do something else. Obviously this looks clean. But now let's try to find it. So if I go to your YouTube channel, obviously here you don't have the full service available. You just upload it. So I'm going to see if you have it, if you stream it to Facebook. So it looks like I can't find it. So obviously the only way for me to experience this is on a Sunday at these times, which I think, and obviously these times are listed different because I'm in a Pacific time zone. So just FYI, if you're watching this, you're like, wait. So I think this is a weird experience. I think it's weird that I can't watch your service because I want to see what you're about. I want to actually experience it. I would personally be streaming to YouTube at a minimum and titling it and, you know, brand it as a full worship service. I would, you know, I definitely think the future is more YouTube than Facebook's live streaming and website. I definitely believe in website streaming, but I think YouTube is a platform people get discovered on. So I definitely think that would be my big feedback here. All these look very good, but like for example, like obviously I can watch the message here, and it's funny jumping around because like obviously his beard is changing at different places. But I think one of the hard parts about having just the message up is that it looks like your church is kind of one person or two people, and usually one age bracket. And so the cool thing about a full service is that you get to see everybody. You see a bunch of different people. So yeah, so that would be one small critique. So let's move on. Since I couldn't watch the stream, let's go on to social media. So if I go, let's start with Facebook. So going to Facebook, you got 3,200. This is cool. Oh, this is a sweet little thing about the football game, about the Bengals. That's a cool touch. I like this. I like it when people are personable on their social, that they actually look like real human beings. I think brands sometimes in churches particularly don't really have a voice. They're so like corporate, and churches are so serious, which I understand. You know, sometimes you need to be that, but I like it when they do stuff like this. This is cool. It definitely makes me connect with your church to know that he likes that team. Even though I'm not like a huge football fan, but I know this was a big deal. You know, they're in the Super Bowl, and they came back on the Chiefs. It was crazy. Yeah, this is a good video. I don't even have to hear it, but I like how it's set up. I'm assuming this is some kind of pull from the service. Obviously, you guys are good with video. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I like this. Good use of video. Obviously, one of the things is to continue to use different faces and people. I'll check out here on Instagram, and I could see some different tactics. Obviously, this setup is very popular. I think these are well done. You know, one of the things that, like, I really like this, I definitely think, like a small thing, like typically these should be comments, not in the post. It's not a huge thing. One of the most powerful things that's happening on social is vertical video. And I definitely would, you know, I think studio capture, like this is very high quality video, but I think more iPhone type of capture is so compelling. For sure, most of the engagement that's happening on some of these platforms are on Reels. And I can see you've done some Reels, and you can just see it. Like, look at these numbers. You know, I can look at how many people actually like your channel. And so you got 1,200 followers, and look, almost 2,000 saw this Reel. You know, the idea with Reels and some of these tools, whenever Instagram, Facebook, or any platform releases a new tool, is that they're trying to get content, you know, in that feature, because the algorithm doesn't have enough information. So you have a huge opportunity when they release a new feature to post content there, because they're trying to fuel it. And the more saturated it gets, less people see, but like use Reels. It's a huge opportunity. These are good. You know, I would definitely lean. I don't know, this is not clicking for me, but it's definitely to have more stories. But yeah, this looks clean. I'm curious if I click on one. I see somebody is liking it. Okay, so cool. Somebody's going in and liking things. I definitely think what would be better is to have somebody come in here and respond to things and kind of interact. But this is cool. Obviously, this is an inside thing, and this is well done. But generally, I think this is well done. Obviously, I think just more investment into vertical video. One of the compelling things is to release more younger people to be more creative on these platforms. and do things that are maybe different. And so sometimes what's hard is you need to establish a voice with that, right? And you need to trust that person. But I think that's something we're leaning into, and it's trying to be, you know, be ourselves, but, you know, figure out how to do that on these platforms. So like, you know, and there's platforms you don't need to be on. You know, if your church, you know, for example, you know, TikTok, it's really hard to thrive on there if you're not dancing and willing to be super silly. So how does a ministry or a church do that? You know, typically they can't as easily. They can, but it will look kind of weird, and you got to you got to know who you are and figure this out. But Twitter, obviously not a ton on Twitter, which is totally okay. I think it's definitely a different platform, not for everybody. I could see you're retweeting. It's way more of a networking platform a lot of times. Like this is, you know, obviously this was done over 2 years ago almost, so it's not even worth commenting, but like hashtags on here aren't super relevant. Well, let's look at YouTube. This is cool. I like this header image. If I were to, it does shrink. Yeah, so obviously you're uploading your messages here, which is good. You're creating some thumbnail images, which is really good. So hey, I know him, Joe. He was at Saddleback. I definitely know him, man. We've hung out. I think he would remember me. But you can see, oh, that's interesting. Wait.
Grace, thank you for joining us on.
Oh, I'm getting that. So this would be like a critique on my end. I was not ready for your church service to be that short. So one of the things I might suggest, so you actually are doing this. This is actually, it looks like
Grace,
your full service. So
today, my name is Joe. Let's sing together.
This is cool. So I actually might brand this, like the thumbnail, I think needs to have worship service or something in it. I thought it was just the message, to be honest, just as a new person. Now, I'm a church person, but I just didn't even understand. So like as an example, you know, it doesn't have to be this, or like you can see Saddleback Church worship service. And so, and a couple things on YouTube, I would actually brand that more as like your church.
Grace, thank you for
I like having the title in there. I like this format, the name, Grace Live, Sunday. I think this is cool. These are good links. It seems like these all make sense. The only thing I might explore is creating chapters. You can actually see, check this out.
other people.
Hey, I know that person. You can actually create chapters here. And to do that, all you need to do is do this right here. You do a table of contents, and then you do these timestamps. And you can actually copy and paste this for my church and change it out. But I think definitely it's something to do, like host, music, message, and it's really helpful. But
Joining us online today, my name is Joe.
this is well done. This is a good welcome. This is well captured. This is cool. Yeah, I have that mic. I just got a new USB mic, and I'm like, I didn't know it was like a really good mic.
Good morning, Grace. Let me confess something to you. I hate the code. And I know, hate is a strong...
Very impressed by your quality.
We are collecting items.
And that is to a 21st century definition of faith, and then there's a biblical definition of faith. There is an ancient Near Eastern, ancient Hebrew definition of faith, and that's what we're going to do.
This is cool. Look at this.
So we take the word of Christ, we've heard the word, and connect with the truth of God's word. So for next week, we're talking about the peace that you want. So please come back and invite somebody to come with you. Because boy, we all need peace in an anxious world.
I can't believe your church service is only 48 minutes. I'm like totally blown away. I'm so used to like hour and a half church services. So this is cool. I definitely, the only thing I might change is have that host come back at the end. It kind of ended abruptly. I didn't see any pop-ups of next step information. I might just clean it up. There's something about having the same person doing announcements, saying something at the end, something super simple. You can check out my churches to kind of see, but this is all seems really good. I might just, like, for example, next step wise, like you only have give in here. I might like how to get into a group or talk to somebody. You would add some of that information. And then, have somebody come in here and reply. One of the things we do, which I might do either from your pastor or maybe the host, is we tend to try to ask questions at some point. And we'll say like, hey, thanks for watching on YouTube this week. Comment below your prayer request or what's going on. And then I'll go back and actually reply to people as the online pastor. And I think the host can do that or the team can do that. But it's so funny, I didn't even think it was in here. But, generally, I really do like your YouTube. I definitely think, there's a lot of stuff on here. I'm assuming you have some playlists. I might create like a worship service playlist so people can find. You have the full services here. Was this updated? Oh, it was. Okay, good. I actually might move that.
Let's sing together.
I might move that. It looks like you're doing some good stuff. I might have some, one of the things is to think about is some shorter form of content on some of these platforms so that it kind of makes sense. That's something we're wrestling with, is some more like YouTube focused content this year, because it's, for us, it's actually our biggest platform. And so we're thinking, how do we leverage this? So like I would pay attention, like, okay, we have this many subscribers, we have this many followers, this many likes, like what's our biggest platform right now? And for sure, the thing about YouTube is that it's the second biggest search engine, and it's how you get discovered. Facebook, it tends to be enclosed with the people you already know. Instagram, similar type of things that you can be discovered, but YouTube, you think about it, people go to YouTube to find something, you go to Instagram and Facebook to waste time, and so I think it's really important to just understand. So I think there's a huge potential in investing in this. And so now paradigm wise, I like your website. I like Grace. I like your guys' website. I think there's some speeds and things to update. Generally on social media, I might just do more vertical video, more reels, more stories, and just, maybe get some younger people engaged. YouTube, on the stream in particular, I didn't realize you had your stream because it's so short. It's so funny. And maybe this is why, no, yeah. See, like, I just don't know. I might brand this as your worship service or add something in the branding so I know it's your worship service. But I like that you're doing thumbnails and all this. I would just maybe do chapters, maybe do some outro at the end, kind of spruce up your description for next steps, have some pop-ups and stuff, and then maybe a couple times a year do some special live events. What's really compelling about this is to do it live if you can. I know this is obviously pre-edited, but I don't know, it doesn't look like you've premiered this. I might even schedule this as a premiere and try to be physically present. There's something about gathering people. But the last thing is, not the last thing, but almost the last thing, it's actually looking at your paradigm. And so what I mean by that is, I think one of the things that's hard about this is that digital is one of these things that's a tool in your tool belt. It's a way people can engage with you, but it's not the end. Digital, I always use the example of, I use digital the same way as I use it with my relationship with my wife, where we're physically doing life together and we use digital to enhance. And so our connection by texting and interacting with each other. And so as I look throughout your website, one of the things that I think is missing is opportunities for me to actually experience you in a deeper way. So I like the story. So this is one area, but like let's try this out. Like, is there a class or something where I can experience more? You got some general stuff, but like if I wanted to take, like some churches, it might be a member class, it might be some interactive thing. So here's a newcomer lunch. Okay, so I can sign up for that. But obviously I could tell digital is very much, I would say at a first glance, the paradigm is everything's happening in person and we kind of have offerings online. And so I know you have an online pastor. So I think it's like, what are some more experiences? And I like to think of this as experiences. Like one example of this would be like Peloton has, where you can buy a bike or you can try out one of their classes for free before you buy the bike. And you could try them out. So it's not just passively watching, but actually engaging. So classes and things to audit. People want to be the person that experiences it on their own. And so I think having more experiences that drive deeper engagement would be one thing I would just think about. There's not, again, this is a very well executed website generally, but there's not a lot of experiences. So, and that could be anything from a class to maybe a way, like a popular way that people do this now is that they have like the pop-up thing where you can message with somebody during certain hours and actually talk to them. But obviously, they're like, this is very much just like read about us, maybe watch this thing, and then show up in person. So are there experiences where people can try you out in a way? Like, for example, another example of this would be like, if you're targeting young families, maybe there's something about young families you can actually put on here. Or there might be an event coming up where they can join a Zoom. I don't know, but it seems like you guys care about digital, obviously, because you care about your website and some of your streaming. I would say that there are definitely levels that you could go to the next level to kind of make it a little bit more robust and interactive. I love your guys' video quality. I love this story feature. So yeah, so I think generally, I think you guys are holding ground and are good. I definitely think that there's some areas with your stream. I would definitely experiment with YouTube Premiere in the future and maybe even trying to live stream. I think uploading just your service and having people watch it on demand is, I get it, we do that. But there is something about people watching real time with you, especially for a kickoff event. So I might try to do that more live. That's something we're doing as a church. We're trying to have more live experiences where we are physically present, we're talking to the chat. And then the thought is that if we have a really good launch event, more people will watch it. And the people who want to watch later can watch later. But I would try to do that. Maybe have a pop-up where somebody can message with a pastor ask question. I just think there needs to be more engagement here, and then I might leverage more vertical video throughout. So yeah, so if you liked this video, please let me know in the comments. This is something, I got quite a few other churches that I'm going to do this with. If there's an area where you're like, Jay, definitely love this, but can you give more feedback in this area or more examples here? I would love to give your feedback just in future videos. If I do this again, your thoughts. What I should include in this audit. This is just me. Typically, I spend a couple hours doing this, but this is just me giving my raw thoughts, just kind of clicking around. I still think it's hilarious that I didn't realize that was a full worship service because it was so short. That means I'm so accustomed to long church. And so anyways, thanks again for watching. Hit subscribe, give your feedback below, and if this gets a good response, I'll do another one.